Now we're on section D, which is using the order of operations. Now, what happens is this. It says the same rules for order of operations that we use on whole numbers applies to fractions and mixed numbers as well. Below is the summary of the order of operations. Now we went over that, so you can read that at your leisure. Okay, now note, average is also the same for whole numbers, fractions, and mixed numbers. You find the sum of the numbers divided by how many numbers you have. Okay, now, our first problem here. We had division and multiplication. Now, we know according to the order of operation is whichever one of these comes first from left to right. Now, from the left, division came first, so we'll do the division first. So we had 2/9, division will become multiplication, and we'll take the reciprocal of the second fraction here. So now, we'll take the prime factorization. We had 2 and 7. 9 is 3 and 3. And 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. They have one set of 2's in common, so that will give you 7 over 3 times 3 is 9, times 2 is 18. Now we will bring down this times 3/10. Now we'll do the same thing, the prime factorization. 7 and 3 are already prime. 18 we've done on a few occasions, where 18 breaks down to 2 times 3 times 3, and 10 breaks down to 2 times 5. Now we simplify out what they have in common, which are these 3's here. So we will have 7 over 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12, times 5 is 60. So our final answer here is 7 over 60. Now we come here to number 2. We have 2/5 in parentheses squared, divided by this parenthesis here. Now we know we do what's inside parentheses first. So we would do this parenthesis first here. So we would have 5 and 25. 25 prime factorization is 5 and 5. And 5 prime factorization is 5. Now the LCD would just be 5 and 5, which we know is 25. Okay, so now we would take these fractions here. We had 3/5 minus 11 over 25. We know our common denominator is 25. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So we multiply numerator and denominator by 5. So that would be 15 over 25. And then 25 divided by 25 is 1. So we multiply numerator and denominator by 1. So that would be 11 over 25. 15 minus 11 is 4 over 25. Okay, so now we have this 2/5. So we have 2/5 in parentheses squared, divided by, in parentheses, we have 4 over 25. Now 2/5 in parentheses squared, we know that would be our next operation that we would do. So this is really 2/5 times 2/5 divided by 4 over 25. So we have multiplication and division. We know we'll do the multiplication because it comes first from left to right. So now we will have 2 times 2 is 4, and 5 times 5 is 25. And that's divided by 4 over 25. Now remember, any number divided by itself except 0 is 1. So your answer here is just 1. Now we scroll down here to numbers 3 and 4. Now with number 3, this is what we need to do here. We need to do what's in parentheses first. Now we already know that 2 is prime and 3 is prime. So our LCD here, we know it'd be 2 times 3, which is 6. So we'll rewrite these fractions again. We have 1/2 minus 1/3. And our common denominator is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. We'll multiply numerator and denominator by 3. And 3 times 1 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we'll multiply numerator and denominator by 2. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2. 3 6 minus 2 6 will give us 1 6. So we'll go back here. We add 36 times parentheses 1 6 squared. Now 1 6 squared we know is 1 6 times 1 6. So this would be 36 times. We have 1 6 times 1 6. which we know is 1 over 36. So it's 36 times 1 over 36. Now we'll put this 36 over 1. And if you notice here, this ends up being 36 over 36, which is 1. Okay, now we go here to number 4. We have 3/4 in parentheses squared minus 5 squared over 6. So we know this 3/4 in parentheses squared is the same as, I'm going to write this on the side, 3/4 times 3/4, which we know is 9/16. So this is 9 over 16 minus, we would take this 5 squared, which is 25, over 6, because the only thing that's squared is this 5. Now if you notice here, we don't have the same denominator. So we have to find a common denominator. 16 breaks down to 2 and 8. 2 is prime. 8 breaks down to 2 and 4. 2 is prime. 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. So 16 breaks down to 4 2's. And then 6 breaks down to 2 and 3. Now for some reason that disappeared. You could rewind it and get it back here. But the prime factorization of 16 is 4 2's. And then we have this 2 and 3. So our LCD will have 4 2's and 1 3. Now when we multiply that out, our LCD would be 48. So our common denominator here, and all of this disappeared. And again, this was 9/16. Our common denominator would be 48. Remember, our common denominator is 48. So we'll say 48 divided by 16 is 3. So we'll multiply this numerator and denominator by 3. And that will give us 27 over 48. Now 48 divided by 6 is 8. We'll multiply our numerator and denominator by 8. 25 times 8 is 200. Now 27 minus 200 will give us a negative 100. What's that? 73 over 48. Now the negative 173 over 48, they have nothing in common. So that is your final answer. Now we scroll down here to number 5. You have find the average of 1/2, 3/8, and 7/24. So before we add these, let's first find the common denominator. We have 2, 8, and also 24. We already know the prime factorization of 2 and 8. We already did 8. It was 3 2's. And we've done 24 before. It was 3 2's and a 3. So our LCD will contain 3 2's and a 3. So our common denominator here is 24. So what we would do here is this here. We would have 1, and as you see, all of this disappeared up here, but you can rewind it to get those answers from the previous problems. Okay, so now we're going to have this 1/2 plus 3/8 plus 7 over 24. Our common denominator is 24. So 24 divided by 2. Oh, for some reason this pops back up. But now everything seems to want to come back now. Okay, our common denominator is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. So we multiply this numerator and denominator by 12. So that gives us 12 over 24. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So we multiply this numerator and denominator by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 24 divided by 24 is 1. So we know we multiply the numerator and denominator by 1. 1 times 7 is 7. So now we add these. 12 and 9 is 21 plus 7 is 28 over 24. Now, we could take the prime factorization of these. This would be 2 2's and a 7. 24 breaks down to 3 2's and a 3. So we add 2 sets of 2's that simplify out, and that would give us 7 over 6. Now we would be done right now, but this is average. So we added 3 numbers together, So that means we have to take 7/6, and I'm going to write this over here. We have to take this 7/6 and divide it by 3. So we know we can make that 3/1. So now we will have 7/6 times 1/3. Now 7 times 1 is 7, and 6 times 3 is 18. And that is our final answer, 7/18. Okay, now we come to our next set of examples. The directions above tells you what I normally tell you. Whenever you substitute in for a variable, you always put it in parentheses. So x is 2/3, so we'll put 2/3 in parentheses squared, minus y. Y is a negative 1/4. Now we know 2/3 in parentheses squared will give us 4/9 because that's 2/3 times 2/3. Minus a negative 1/4 will give us a positive 1/4. Now we have to find a common denominator. We'll take 9 and 4. 9 breaks down to 3 and 3. 4 breaks down to 2 and 2. There's nothing they have in common, so you multiply all these together and it gives you 36. So our common denominator here is 36. So we say 36 divided by 9 is 4. So we multiply our numerator and denominator by 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then here, 36 divided by 4 is 9. So we multiply our numerator and denominator by 9. 1 times 9 is 9, and 4 times 9 is 36. So now we add them. 16 plus 9 is 25 over 36. They have nothing in common. We're done with that problem. Now we go over to number 2. Now with number 2, we substitute in 5/9 for y plus 2 times x is 7/12. So now what we will have here, this will still remain 5/9 plus, we'll put a 1 under this 2 here. 2 times 7, well, we could write this out. Let's write this out because we may be able to simplify this. So our fraction here will be 2 times 7, and our denominator, we'll have 2 2's and a 3. As you know, 12 breaks down to 2 2's and a 3. These 2's will simplify out, and this will leave you 7/6. Now, we already found the prime factorization of 9, which was 3 and 3. Prime factorization of 6 is 2 and 3. So our LCD is 1 2 and 2 3's. So our LCD is 18. So our common denominator is 18. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. So we'll multiply our numerator and denominator by 2. And 2 times 5 is 10. 18 divided by 6 is 3. Multiply our numerator and denominator by 3. 7 times 3 is 21. So now we add them together. 10 plus 21 is 31 over 18. Now we haven't did this in a while, so I want to do this with this problem. Let's change this to a mixed number. So we could take 18 and a 31. 18 goes into 31 one time. And we're left with a remainder of 13. So our final answer would be 1 as the whole number. Our denominator still would be 18, and our numerator would be the remainder, which is 13. Now remember, just for clarity's sake, remember this 31 over 18 is simplified. I just want to write it as a mixed number. Okay, so now we're done with that problem. Okay, now we move to the next section that deals with complex fractions. Now with complex fractions, it goes like this. You have a fraction divided by a fraction. So you would take 3/4, this bar here is your division, and 7/8. Now we could do this just like a regular division problem. The first fraction stays the same, division becomes multiplication, and we take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So then we multiply, we do 3 and the prime factorization of 8, which is 3 2's. Then we do the prime factorization of 4, which is 2 2's, and bring over our 7. These two sets of 2's simplify out, and we add 3 times 2, which is 6, and we will have 7 as our denominator. So our answer is 6, 7. Finally, number 2 is just like number 1. We'll take the first fraction divided by this second fraction here. Then we will change it to multiplication. First fraction stays the same, division becomes multiplication, and take the reciprocal. We have all prime numbers here, So we had 3 times 7, 5 times 3. These 3 simplify out, and you're left with 7/5.